Hello and welcome to our 40-day olive tree celestial communication practice. We are going to have a magical time together over these next 6 weeks. So, the olive tree, often named the tree of life, and we see why when we consider what this tree brings forth of itself. And it brings forth many gifts to humanity. It brings forth nourishing gifts, healing gifts, gifts that sustain us, used for celebration and the sacred. And in biblical times, this tree was so valued that it was considered one of the 3 gifts of God to mankind, that being wine, bread, and the olive tree. And those who partake of the olive tree's vital gifts are also given the opportunity to connect to the source of life in so doing. So these are the gifts that the olive tree has the capacity of bringing forth. And this word capacity is quite key, and it's an interesting word because it has different nuances. So on the one hand, capacity means what we are able to do. And on another hand, related to that, it also means a capacity is a space to contain, a space of containment. And within that space, there is also a potential for the creative power to move through and bring something to life, to give birth to something. So there is a potential, and this potential is able, out of this space, to bring forth life, to bring forth expressions and gifts, just like the olive tree. And in so doing, the potential of all life has the opportunity to express itself through physical form. And this is a fulfilling of the purpose of life. And so it brings happiness and contentment to God's heart, or to the source of life. So just as the olive tree, I would like to invite you to also contemplate, both while you're doing the celestial communication and also afterwards, while you're meditating in stillness, to experience and investigate what your capacity is. And each of us has a capacity that is quite unique and quite different. And we have different capacities that have the propensity to attract, to hold, to nurture and sustain quite different aspects of life. For example, we can see that the sea is like a capacity, and in that capacity it's possible for animals that swim to be brought into life. Or we can see the air, and as a capacity, the air can bring forth life that flies, for example. Or the earth has the capacity to bring forth minerals and plants that then nourish animals. And so everything has its unique physical propensities and qualities that have the affinity to a certain kind of life, or to call a certain kind of life into it. And just in the same way, all of what is called into those larger capacities, the sub creatures, they in turn are also capacities. The beings, every being is a capacity in its own right. So just as a tree, like the olive tree, can bring forth a certain kind of fruit with a certain kind of oil and a certain kind of leaf with certain kinds of chemical healing properties. And this all has to do with how the space of non-manifest life is folded into us, and how we vibrate in that space that we are holding within us and that holds us. And this vibration that we have is very subtle in our original incarnation. We might call it the subtle soul vibrations, which imbue the essence of our space with a certain taste or atmosphere. And that atmosphere and taste gets then overlaid by whatever feelings or experiences we have in life. So when we go into the stillness at the end of this celestial communication, first of all, we've created a certain atmosphere through the movements and the singing and the music, and this will have charged our magnetic field in such a way that we have more propensity to go inwards and to begin to feel ourselves. And the first thing that will happen is that that which we are not, so the old feelings and the old thoughts and sensations, will begin to surface, to be excreted, expelled from our space, to purify our space. And that can take a bit of time, and that's okay. Give it space to do so. And as the field, our inner space, is purified and cleared, we get to reflect within this space and begin to take confidence, to become comfortable within our own being, and experience, what does my essential space call for? What is it burgeoning to give forth? What kind of other qualities or aspects of life or creatures does my space have an affinity with? And what am I really being called to bring forth as an offering to life, as a fulfillment of an inherent potential from the source? And of course, the image of the seed, or the image of what the seed is to become, is like held as a blueprint within the seed. So this inner capacity is like our seed self. And so in a way, it has spiritual DNA, subtle DNA within this non-manifest space that is like a womb or an egg that is calling for something to come through and be born and express. And so as we attune to that, we can maybe even begin to see the vision of our lives, of the blueprint of our seed self, and see how that which we have to bring forth is also needed by life. And we might need to find the right ambient, the right culture, the right social milieu in which to embed ourselves for our gift to be activated and called upon by the group, by the collective. And in so doing, we will be able to consign our sacred gift that we are here to bear to the rest of life, for those around us to be nourished and sustained and healed and served. And in this way, we can also bring happiness to God's heart, happiness to the source that is urging us on. Yay, go, celebrate, bring forth what I give you. Be without fear, be without revenge. Self-realize, realize these gifts. So, it is a celebratory experience as well, and this is again something that the olive tree really brings with it as a quality, this kind of gushing vitality that's coming through, and we feel that also in the celestial communication, that everything is kind of exploding with vital abundance. And to get to that, we first need to be in the seed state and to reflect, to really get that image, that soul blueprint. And the winter time is the best time to meditate on our seed self and to reflect, to observe, to feel what comes up, what releases, and what is the most subtle, essential aspect of who we are, how we feel, and what we're here to do.